salutations, friends. It has been a long time because if you've noticed, this is a new background. That's right, I moved. And then a lot of other stuff happened. And life is just moving along. So that's about all I'm going to get into as far as why I haven't recorded in so long. My channel went through an identity crisis. I started a new channel, recorded one video, and then disappeared. So now I'm back on the old channel. I have decided that this is the channel. This is the channel. And we won't even get into why. It doesn't matter. I'd rather spend time on more fun stuff. So if there is anybody new out there that stumbles across this channel, my name is Jessica, aka Biscuit. And Biscuit is just a play off of people not being able to pronounce my last name. It was mortifying when it happened in the 5th grade, and then now I just don't care and I embrace it. So you can call me either one or find a new nickname if you want. I have my show notes up. I am going to try to use them because it's been a really long time. Oh, yes, this is a little fuzzy stuffed cat that is attached to my chair. Isn't it cute? So, new desk chair. That's always fun. Let's get moving. Where can you find me? I will have the show notes and links down below. And I am on Instagram. You can find me on Ravelry. And also I have linked my Fable account. What is Fable, you ask? Well, Fable is a better version of Goodreads. So any of my readers out there, I have stopped using my Goodreads account. I just don't think it's a very good platform or user interface. I think it's incredibly complicated for something that should be oh so simple, especially considering that Google owns it. And I guess it was a couple months ago, back in January, time means nothing, that I learned about Fable through some of the booktubers that I follow. And I started using it. I track my days reading. I think I'm at 256 days straight of reading. And so if you want to follow all of my reading adventures, Fable is where you gotta go. It's a great app. It really is. I highly recommend it. We're gonna have a mixture of knitting, reading. I love to cook, so I'm experimenting more with recipes and finding new chefs to follow, and maybe some other fun stuff like things I've watched, that kind of thing. So here we go. It's been a while. I feel so weird doing this now. But before I get into it, actually, I was watching the Skein Scoop podcast because I've only just now got my knitting mojo back, which means I'm starting to catch up on all the podcasts. And I was watching an episode from the Skein Scoop, Lori and Justine. Hi, ladies. And they were just talking about what a great community they've built in their shop. They have the best yarn shop. They are one of my favorites. One day I will go visit them. But they were talking about not just the community within their shop, but also the online community with their podcast and Instagram, and how sometimes social media can be a great place. And so I thought about that, and I've been toying with the idea of recording again. Oh my gosh. Pardon me. And I thought, I met a lot of friends through Instagram and YouTube just doing this thing. Just doing the knitting thing. And I said I really should record again. I am knitting like I'm trying to make up for all the lost time. And I have so many things I want to share, and I don't have, I'm sure I could search for somebody in my town who also knits, but I don't have a lot of folks located here in Virginia within driving distance that also knit. And so it is nice to catch up with people. So if anybody is left out there and you've been around for a while, thank you for coming back, and thank you for being part of my community. Okay, now I'm gonna start talking about knitting. I have two FOs. The first one, she's the big girl, and I'm really excited. I have been working on this project for over 2 years, and it's funny because I said, I guess a couple months ago, I am never gonna make a fingering weight granny stripe blanket again. And then the second that I finished the last stitch, I said, I want to make another one. I don't care if it takes me another 2 years to get through it, because, you know, it's never been my main project up until recently, because I want to gift it to someone, and so I needed to get it done. And I don't know, I miss having that really easy, methodical project that gives my hands a little bit of a break from knitting, because I'm a pretty tight knitter, and especially with socks, like I've been knitting on this one pair of socks. My hands are not killing me today, but they were yesterday and the day before. So yeah, spoiler alert, I did start a chain for a new blanket, and that's all I did, so I'm not showing that one. And so this blanket, which is falling all over the place, has been, I actually washed it in my washing machine on the gentle cycle and hung it up dry, and she's fine. The one thing that did for me was it helped me figure out where my magic knot failed me, and it failed me twice. And so I had, y'all know it's coming. I should probably turn the AC up because I'm gonna sweat my no-nads off. But there we go. For those that are new here, I don't even know how to explain this. I washed the blanket in the washing machine, and my magic knots failed me. I think I was tying them incorrectly there for a little while, and I was devastated because I had been crocheting on this for so long. And then it comes out of the washing machine, and I'm laying it out to dry on my drying rack, and there's 2 holes. But here's the positive thing about having a screw up in your knitting or crochet. You learn how to fix it. And I actually fixed it, and there was only one spot where you would have to hold it like super close, this close, I don't know what this means, this close to your face, and you would notice that the shade of yarn that I used in one of the sections was just a little bit different. The person I'm going to give this to is not going to inspect it like that, but at least now I know I can tell them, hey, if this happens again, never fear, pack it up in a bag, bring it to me, I will fix it. So if I can remember, I will link the video down below for how I fixed it. And I mean, it's not my tutorial. It's a tutorial I found on YouTube. The only thing I will say is make sure you watch the video all the way through before you get started, because the person in the video was like, if here's the top row that I need to attach my broken row to, I was the next row below that. She was like 2 rows below that. So I was trying to fix it as if I needed to crochet 1, 2 rows and then attach, but I didn't need to do that. I just needed to attach this row to this row. So I did it, and it was awesome. And I love making a granny stripe blanket, and I do think that I'm going to make another one out of fingering weight yarn. Because here's the other thing, marling yarn and knitting and crocheting with it, I have to look a lot more than I do if it's a single strand. So while some of those projects are a lot of fun and easy, they're not easy in that, like, the only thing I can do most of the time, for me anyway, is look at it, because otherwise I drop that second strand. So that's why I think for an easy project, yes, doing this again. Okay, my next finished object is, pardon me, a Musselburgh hat. I have not washed and blocked it. I do not remember the yarn that I used for this. It might be on my Ravelry project page, which will be linked below, but I really have no idea. Oh, you know what? The tutorial for fixing the granny stripe blanket, editing me, just put that link in the granny stripe blanket project page. Anyway, muscle burr hat. Chrissy, if you're watching, I have finally finished your hat. And today I'm going to probably text you if I can remember to get your new address so I can send this hat to you. But yes, it is very pretty. She picked out the yarn ages ago and I finally finished it. I have no idea if it focused, but there it is. Okay, 2 finished objects. Let's get back to the show notes. Where am I? Oh my gosh, my allergies, like I feel like they just permanently bother me. And I don't know if I sound as scratchy and gravelly on the video as I do to myself, but there's nothing I can do about it unless you just want me to not record, which then y'all know how that goes. It could be years. Years. My mug is from Idlewild Clay. Gonna talk about her a little bit more later. But isn't it pretty? And the inside of it, without spilling my tea all over my computer, you can't really tell. There's like this earthy, like sage green rim at the very top. And then the rest of the glaze is a purple. Her pottery, y'all. You gotta go check her out. She's linked below. I got more of her stuff later in the show. She just did a great job, and I'm about to get a new bowl from her. I'll show it when it comes in. Okay, UFOs. Okay, so I finished 2 projects and then I started 2 new ones. And I'm gonna try to make sure that while I just want a balance of like working on something that's already in progress and then having a new thing. So for the 2 that I casted off, I cast on 2 new ones. I got this idea from the Crazy Sock Lady, like I said, catching up on my podcasts. And I have all of these scraps and row 1 minis, and I'm saving my Advent minis for something else, but I have a lot of minis and whatnot. I've got this huge basket back here that I'm not gonna bring up because this is about to get complicated. And I have another basket that I'm also not gonna lift up. Man, I am just like spoiling it all today. But I have a bunch of different scraps. And for this shawl, it's called, the title of the shawl is My Reading Shawl. And I started this a couple days ago. And I'm just pulling in all of the moody, darker, spooky season, wintry vibes. And so I am marling the yarn on this one. And they're on my Alika needles. And yes, I did look it up. For those of you that know, nobody knows how to pronounce these things. Well, I Googled it. Let me Google that for you. It's called Lika. I don't really care what you call them. Just in case anybody's like, is she pronouncing it right? I'm like 80% sure I'm pronouncing it right. So back to my reading shawl. The pattern, which I will have linked below. How cool is that? I've got this like orange brown down here. Man, I am like all over the place. This is gonna be great. The pattern is a little bit more organized. This girl doesn't need that right now. I am sort of thinking about the next color as I'm knitting the current color to be like, what would be nice right next to it? But that's about it. The pattern in Ravelry, it's a little bit more structured in the way that she stripes her yarns. And I just didn't want to do that. I wanted to use my scraps. So my yarn bowl, another Idlewild piece of pottery that I absolutely adore. I have like a lot of stuff from her. And I'm getting another one. Did I mention that? You guys, you gotta check her stuff out. But don't run too quickly because I like to snatch up the best of the best when I can. So don't steal from my cart. But anyway, So pretty. So pretty. But yeah, I'm using, right now I'm doing an orange. I'm doing an orange and a brown. Yes. Oh man. Why is anybody paying attention to this? Okay, so this basket, I am bringing up the basket of yarn. This basket, I just got this from a thrift store once upon a time. It's had many different purposes. Right now, it lives in the mountain of yarn and projects next to my couch over here. And this is where, yeah, I'm just picking 2 yarns, and I probably need to grab some more blues at some point. And, ooh, like this one, this is probably gonna be one of the next ones. That blue, maybe with, this is a Mrs. Babs. Maybe this one, ooh, or no, actually, probably this one. This is a Malabrigo. I made socks out of this yarn a while ago. I think I even had 2 skeins of it, and I just have so much left over. So yeah, these will probably be next. I'll go into a blue, and then I kind of want to do like a brown and a pink, but my pink is stolen right now for the new granny stripe blanket, so I can't show that to you. Whew, it's getting hot in here, so take off all your knits. Okay, next, the only thing I've really done with this next UFO, because I started these socks, they're called the Harvest socks, and they're from the Sweater Weather Sock Collection by Carly Perrins, linked below. I started these socks last year. Was it last year? I don't know when I started them. But I didn't finish them. And then I picked them up a couple months ago before I moved. And I screwed up like one little section on the side of the sock, and I couldn't live with it. I probably could have lived with it. The person getting the socks probably could have lived with it, but I couldn't. I just had to fix it. And so I did. I painstakingly went stitch by stitch and went down 4 rows and fixed it. That's all I've done. I haven't actually knitted on it, but I will be knitting on it again very soon. So let me show you the finished one. I do not have sock blockers. Y'all are just gonna have to, you know, pretend that it's on one. It's got lots of stitch markers, because what I do, and I stole this idea from the Crazy Sock Lady, she uses, and I do this too, like if it's a vanilla sock, I'll do a little stitch marker every 10 rows just to help me map out like how long, oh, hair, how long is the sock supposed to be, like in the leg and the foot. But in a patterned sock, see there's so many. In a patterned sock, I do it for every repeat. Well, this is a 4-row repeat. It is a very easy sock to knit. It has a slipped stitch heel, you can see. So for, I think Amy of Happy Little Yarn, it was probably an episode from months ago. I just got caught up, or maybe not, I don't know. But Amy, this pattern has got a slip stitch heel in it. Although you were knitting a DK weight sock, but I bet it could be translated if you haven't gotten there yet. But very pretty sock. The main color is Dune by Hedgehog Fibers. And this was originally going to be in a shawl. And I struggled because their yarn splits a lot. I said it, whatever. But this is a really pretty color. And I have no idea. The green, I don't know. The green heel and the toe, which isn't showing up true to color. Well, it's close. I don't know. I don't know about the green. So the idea is like, these are for my stepmom. They were supposed to be for her birthday. I don't remember when I was going to give them to her. But the idea was I would make her main color Dune, her contrast color, the green, and then I would make my dad some socks from the same sweater weather collection. I'd make a different one for him. His main color would be green with his contrast color being dune. So there you go. I ripped back to, I have 2 more decreases after the heel and gusset. So I guess 2 more gusset decreases, right? That's the gusset after you get past the heel. I don't know. I'm not a professional. And then, you know, the pattern's only knit at the top. It is a little bit of a twisted stitch, like cable pattern, but I don't think it's very difficult. And I think that if you are a sock knitter and you want to learn how to do cables, something like that is a great way to do it. And actually, I usually say if you want to try a new technique, turn it into a washcloth. Make a washcloth. The first time I learned how to do cables, I made a washcloth. Fanciest freaking washcloth ever. I gave it to a friend, actually. But yeah, it worked out well. Oh no, I forgot to put, I'm not putting things on my head. Why didn't you guys remind me? Okay, there's that. Am I gonna put both of these on here? I mean, I guess I will. Like, what's the point of doing this if I'm not like really doing it all the way, right? Okay. So that's 2 UFOs. My last UFO that I'm gonna show as something I'm actively working on is a pair of socks that I'm knitting for my dad. Oh, it's a Naughty Knitting Sack bag. They're tarot cards. I don't know if you can see it. The inside of it's got skeletons doing it. But this is a Freckled Whimsy self-striping yarn. It's from the Sanderson sister collection that she did, I don't know, a year ago, 2 years ago? Time means nothing. I really don't remember a lot of this stuff because it's been so long since I've bought things and knitted things, and it doesn't matter. Black Flame candle, which, speaking of which, today is September something, the 28th. So Wednesday is October 1st. So it's finally time next weekend to watch Hocus Pocus. I always start spooky season with Hocus Pocus. Oh man, that looks dangerous. Okay, so that is it for FOs and UFOs, but we are not done piling things on my head. I swear to God, I have like hair or yarn in my eyes and it's driving me nuts. Ah! Shoot. Oh man. No, we're seeing this all the way through. We're seeing this all the way through. Let's do this one first, because I think I've got one more. And then this part will be over for those of you who are like, this girl is obnoxious. Well, if you're thinking that, actually, you're in the wrong place. Because yes, this is not going to get any better. I may be out of practice, but like at podcasting, but I'm not out of practice at being me. This is what you get. Okay, that's it for UFOs. That was my dad's 70th birthday socks. I've got to get them done. I got a couple weeks. And I just started these like Thursday night, maybe. Knit on them way too much. My hands are killing me, so I'm not going to be doing a lot of knitting today. But I might get started on my next granny stripe blanket. Okay. I think this will be the second year in a row that I get the Blackbird Sycamore Yarns Crafty Cryptids Advent. I just said all of that without screwing it up. Wow. Her Advent last year was so much fun to open. So much fun. And I wasn't going to get another Advent this year because I haven't really been knitting that much. And I have too much yarn. There is such a thing as too much yarn when you start to realize you have too much yarn. People are like, you never have too much. I have too much. I mean, I have too much for me. Some people will look at my stash and be like, girl, I got more. I'm not talking about other people's perceptions, but now that I'm knitting and getting things done and using large amounts of yarn, like that reading shawl is going to be freaking huge. I'll be interested to see if most of those scraps will be gone by the time. Maybe not the full skein ones, but whatever. I said I wasn't going to buy another Advent, and then Blackbird Sycamore Yarn, they posted their 2025 Advent. And I saw the inspiration picture and I was like, I have to get it. I have to get it. Because like you get, I don't remember everything. Like we got like stitch markers, progress keepers that were very whimsical. You got this really cool card that explained the cryptid and the inspiration photo for each yarn. And I started out making a shawl. Oh, you get this really cool project bag. I mean, I don't know, like the project bag has been different every year. And I missed out. The first year, like I felt hardcore FOMO. That bag was awesome. But this is the bag from last year. And I love this bag. And so I made a shawl out of my Advent. And it was hanging up on the door, and I looked and saw, and I was like, I have a drop stitch. I have no idea where that shawl is right now. And when I find it and fix it, I will show it on the podcast because I know all I've done is put it on my Instagram page. So if you want to see it, go there, scroll, you'll find it somewhere. But I also, when I was done with the shawl, I started what is it called? 6-day star blanket, which apparently there was like all this controversy over this blanket. And I don't know what it was, but people need to chill out. This is knitting and crocheting, y'all. Like, calm down. Anyway, this is my blanket. I really thought I was farther than this, but I guess I'm not. But yeah, I want to finish this. I want to finish all of because I got a decent amount of yarn left in here. And I'm just going, at this point, I'm just going until I run out. So the idea is I want it to at least be like where I can fold it in half. Like it's a lap blanket, or I can fold it in half and it could be a super thick shawl. So here's my plan, because I noticed on Blackbird Sycamore Yarn's Etsy shop that it looks like there's a dyed order. I'm going to go back and double check, and you just pick through some different tonal colors. My thought was, if this isn't big enough, I would go back to their Etsy shop and buy some DK weight yarn, maybe in like a gray. Oh, there she is. That's great stuff. But get a gray, maybe like a lighter gray and a darker gray, and just make it a little bit bigger so that it is the size that I'm really looking for. So that's actually a lot. Wow. Who am I? So that's everything that I've actually got on the needles or got off of the needles that I'm actively working on. I have other UFOs that, again, like once I finish maybe the reading shawl, I will bring out my satellite shawl by Andrea Mowry. I'm not linking it right now because I'm not working on it. My show notes are final, maybe. But I want to finish my satellite shawl. That would be the next one. That one requires like sitting down and really focusing, but I could probably pull off an audiobook. Maybe not like a complicated fantasy sci-fi audiobook, but maybe a more lighthearted audiobook or like whatever. I want to finish my satellite shawl And I've just got so many things I want to finish. So hopefully, you know what? This is me making the statement right now. Maybe by the next time, this is my fear of commitment coming out with my knitting. Maybe by the next time I see you guys, I will have at least pulled the satellite shawl out of the depths of my whip pile, dusted off the knitting bag, and gotten back into the pattern, because I did all these different color combinations between the mohair and the fingering weight yarn, and I've got to kind of like read my knitting to figure that out. That is my almost commitment. I will get that shawl out and show it on the next podcast and be ready to almost start knitting on it again, maybe. How do you like that? Okay. Before I take all of this off and get into other things, let's talk about a couple other yarny things before we transition. I've had my eye on, and Editing Me is going to put a picture in here. I have new editing software. We'll see how it goes. It is called the Fjæra sweater. It's Norwegian, Fjæra. The pattern's not in Norwegian, thank goodness, but I have been eyeing this sweater for a while. I was watching the Woolly Thistle podcast within the last year. Apparently everything is within the last year because I can't remember anything. And they'll have like little spotlights where different people that either work at the store or are longtime friends, viewers, will come in and talk about the things that they're knitting. Well, I saw this sweater and I was like, that is so cool. I want to see it in other colors though. Linked below. And I was like, I want this sweater. And then I told myself recently, it's like, you know what, self? You've been knitting more. Yarn is slowly being used up. It's time to knit yourself a sweater. You deserve it. Because I do. Sorry, my nose itches. Gross. Well, at first I was like, I'm going to buy myself this sweater kit from the Woolly Thistle for my birthday, as like my Christmas present to myself. Then I was like, well, I have the cash saved anyway for like fun stuff. I have like a little account for like fun stuff where I can spend money on things that cost more than, you know, like 20, 50 bucks or whatever. And I said, what if this was like my Christmas sweater? Like, what if I started every year? And we'll see. I like to create traditions. I don't always follow through with them. But like, what if every year I picked out a sweater in like, say, September or so and got a kit and knitted a sweater for Christmas, kind of like people do with Rhinebeck, which, man, I wish I was going this year, but give me a couple of years, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, I want to make this sweater for myself for Christmas. I got the kit and I've got a link below to the Woolly Thistle shop so you can, if you want to see the kit that I got. My colors are like it's like a creamy beige with a really dark brown. So the creamy beige is the main color and the dark brown is the design. And I really liked the contrast of that. And actually, funny enough, Fjæra means feathers. So I thought that was cool that they used that as an inspiration. It's a very like geometric pattern, but I could see it. Anyway, so that is my dream knitting. It's a Fjæra. I love saying that now that I know how to say it. Norwegian, like some of the words are just like so pretty, like fjord. What a pretty word. Oh, the Woolly Thistle has a great podcast too. And I'm trying to get into less superwash yarn. I'll still always have some for sock knitting. I got plenty. I'll have some for a long time. But I also want to, especially for sweaters and things like that for myself. Yeah, I want more all natural stuff. So I will have Happy Little Yarn podcast linked down below. She is doing Vlogtober, and I mean, I could literally watch her do anything. Like if she was making a cup of coffee on her vlog, Speaking of a drink, oh, my tea. I'm going to talk about that later. But she can talk about anything, do whatever in her podcast, and I would love it. So I'm very excited about her Vlogtober. She's also one of the few that I watch for Vlogmas, and I just love her accent. Oh my God, it's so great. The Skein Scoop podcast, I also linked them down below. I watch more podcasts than that, but these are just the ones top of mind right now that I'm going to link below. Oh, for my dad's sock right here. Oh boy, can I do this? Maybe. This is such a nightmare. This is the Shadow Wrap heel. I don't know if it's focusing. That looks really weird, but it's the Shadow Wrap heel by Earth Tones Girl. And I really enjoy knitting it. It is easier than a heel flap and gusset. But the Shadow Wrap heel doesn't fit me very well. I need the extra fabric that you get from a heel flap and gusset, but my dad, it fits really well. And so I am also going to have that linked down below so that you can see it. I will have Idlewild Clay linked down below. When I get my bowl from her, I will feature that, and maybe one of her other mugs that I have in the next podcast. I don't know when I'm podcasting next. Like last time, it was like a year, and the time before that, it was almost a year. I really want to do it more frequently than once a year, but we'll see. I mean, life is busy. We've all got stuff going on. You know, I've got family here. The boyfriend's got his family here. We've got Ophelia. She's actually pretty easy to take care of. I do a lot more stuff. I feel like I got out of my pandemic isolation shell very slowly for like mental health reasons. And I'm finally out of all of that. And so now that I'm out of all of that, the great news is we've got a lot going on. Some good, some not so good. But I think that this is a good thing for me to do for myself. So I will do my best to be back in about a month. We'll see. Oh my gosh, this is so long already. Oh, the editing. I love editing and I hate it at the same time because I spend way too much time doing it. Like this is the feature film or something. Okay, I think that is it for all of the knitting stuff. I have no idea how to do this. And I really don't want to just dump it all in like a pile, you know? That would be awful. That would be awful. I mean, I got a lot of cleanup to do anyway, but oh shit. We're like really tangled up here. Got this like spider web of yarn going on. But it's worth it because I know that there are at least a few of you out there that enjoy the tower of yarn on my head. And that means it's worth it to me. But look at that. This isn't so bad now. I mean, cleanup's going to be a friggin' nightmare, but it's fine. It's fine. Most of it just lives next to the couch in really big baskets and bags anyway. So whatever. I need to stop complaining. And it is now 50 degrees cooler. Oh my gosh. Yikes. Let's just fix that real quick. Let's get back to camera ready. Okay. That is the knitting. Oh, the little yarn furries all over me. All right. That's it for the knitting. So let's move on to a couple other things. Books. I did not bring my freaking stack of October books in here. I'll grab them. So what did I just finish? I just finished reading The Will of the Many. If you follow me on Instagram, I think at least a few of you do, I posted this book on my Instagram stories. And actually, let me remember, I do want to add Patrick in here. I want to link his channel. So I follow a couple different booktubers, and the two that I get most of my reading recommendations are Mike's Book Reviews, and Patrick. Patrick, what is your channel name? I don't remember. Do you have a channel name other than just Patrick? Anyway, as I'm like rudely searching, his channel is just Patrick. Okay, I was gonna feel really bad because like he's one of those people where like I feel like we're internet friends, but we've never actually met in person. This is gonna feel really bad if I didn't remember his YouTube channel. Well, and I hope he thinks we're internet friends. Otherwise, this is probably a little creepy. But I get a lot of my fantasy and sci-fi recommendations, not all of them, but a lot, from Patrick and Mike's Book Reviews. And Patrick, loves the book The Will of the Many by James Islington. And this book was pretty big in the fantasy booktube world for a reason. I am not a book reviewer, and I don't want to give too much away, so forgive me for not going pretty deep into the descriptions, but I do have links, the Goodreads links, unfortunately. Fable is just an app that I use to track my books, but Goodreads is still a platform that has like all the reviews and stuff. So anyway, The Will of the Many by James Islington. What I will tell you is there is an ancient Greece feel to this fantasy book, and you have an orphan who is kind of finding his way, literally and figuratively, through society and the world in his life as an orphan. And one day, a higher ranking official notices him, and I'm going to give you a little bit of spoiler, and adopts him. And suddenly he is in this world that is miles above what he's used to living in, but his charge is to solve a murder. And he ends up getting pretty deep into sort of like a sub-political like plot in this dark academia setting. And there were like a couple of small things that I was able to guess, but the big things that mattered, I did not predict them. And it was one of those books, like I go to bed around, I go up for reading time. Ophelia gets her treats and I start reading at 9 o'clock at night-ish. Brush my teeth, take my vitamins, then I start reading. And I read until about 10 or 10:30, and then it's lights out. Well, this past Sunday, I think I had like, my Kindle said, because I got it through the Libby app, which I will also link below. Sidebar, I'll come back to it. So I'm on my Kindle, and lights are out, and I'm like, well, I'll just read until I fall asleep. I'm not that person. It's rare, especially with a good book, that a book puts me to sleep. And I know that happens to a lot of people. It does not happen to me. I will stay up all night to finish a book, especially when I was a teenager. And I stayed up until about midnight on a school night, finishing this book. And I can't stop thinking about it. The second book in the series, The Strength of the Few, should be out in November. I'm not kidding when I say I was 10% into The Will of the Many and I pre-ordered the second book. I was like, I just knew. I knew that I was going to love this book. So that is one to look out for if you're a fantasy reader at all. I read every genre, but fantasy is my happy place. That's my favorite. So there's that. I just finished that. I am currently reading, oh, I forgot to add a link. Pardon me. I'm currently reading multiple books, but I'll just talk about the two main squeezes. So I usually have an audiobook going for in the car, or if I'm doing chores around the house, or I'm knitting, or if I'm walking, when I don't drop the base of a floor lamp on my foot and potentially give myself a hairline fracture. That was fun. Still dealing with that. Whoops. I think I just bumped the camera. So anyway, what am I reading right now? One of them is the book that I read at night, or actually I'm going to read during the day a little bit today. It's called Network Effect. It is the 5th book in a series of novels and novellas of the Murderbot series. I know that Apple TV has made it into a show. I watched the preview and I'm kind of worried that I'm gonna hate it. So I've not watched the show yet. But the gist of it is it's about a depressed robot. And it's science fiction set in the future, so the robot looks more like a human. It looks like a human being. But there are certain tells, like it doesn't breathe, it doesn't blink, that kind of thing, where you can tell that it's, they call them sec units. And he's kind of depressed. He just wants to sit around and watch his shows, his stories. He likes to watch his stories. And yeah, his missions are usually just security on, like, if there's an excavation on another planet, people can rent him and like pods to like live in when they're on this planet doing whatever, you know, they need to do, research, whatever. And like, he doesn't like communicating with humans, especially doesn't like eye-to-eye contact, that kind of thing. And it is just like, and he's kind of grossed out by humans. We are kind of gross creatures. Like, let's be honest, like we secrete things, you know, whatever. Ew. Anyway, there are just times when I read these books where I do laugh out loud. And in the current series, he has reunited with a friend of his that is a spaceship. And it's going really well. And I want to finish it because my original goal was to read 50 books for the year. Well, I hit that goal and I am now at 55 or I think 55. I think I finally hit 55. And I'm like, well, I mean, October's not even here yet. I have 3 months with some vacation time in there. What if I tried for 75 books? So that's the new goal. So I need to finish Murderbot. I want to finish him to get to 7 books in the month of September to really help expedite me into those 75 books. And no, it's not a race. And it's not really about the number. It is about the number. But not in the way of like, oh, I want a trophy because I read this many books. It's because there are so many really good books out there that I want to read. And I'm never going to be able to read all the books that I want to read before I die. So I'm just going to read as many books as I can. And I am a fast reader. And the number is more about like, it was about like read a little bit every day and having these goals so that this thing that I love so much becomes a priority, like knitting or one day sewing and spinning when I get back to it. Like reading just needed to be a priority for me. So I'm reading Network Effect, and then I'm reading Empire of the Vampire. Now, this is not your sparkly love story vampire book. This is vampires are evil, and there is a group of half-blood vampire humans out hunting vampires and trying to kill all of them and rid the earth of vampires. And it's more like a religious brotherhood kind of thing for the half-bloods. I don't know what they call them. I can't remember what they call themselves. I'm just going to call them half-bloods. I think that's from Harry Potter. I don't know. It's been a while since I've read that. But so far, Empire of the Vampire has been really good. I really like the main character a lot. It's one of those stories, and I know this is kind of like a classic thing to do where you have the main characters in like a jail cell and you have this other character that's like a protagonist that is trying to get the main character to tell them their story. And so you go back and forth between present day and this person's past and how he got to where he was. And I think I'm like 7 hours in and I've got 20 hours to go and I need to get it done before the next book becomes available. And this is a good segue to talk about Libby, I think. And then I'll go grab my October stack of books. So Libby is an app where you use your library card. And by the way, in a lot of areas, they will let you get multiple library cards. So I have one for the city of Richmond, but then I also got one for one of the surrounding counties. And I can go to different libraries. And as long as I have like a home base library within Virginia, you can usually go within that network and get other library cards. And what that does on Libby is you attach it to your library card or library cards, and you have access to ebooks, magazines, audiobooks, and you know, with the more popular ones, like with The Will of the Many, I actually waited months because I'm trying to buy fewer books. There are certain ones that I'll probably buy in the future, like The Will of the Many. I'm going to buy that. I already have. It's on the way. And so is the pre-order for the second book. But it gives me the opportunity to save my dollars for other things. Like I go to a lot of anime conventions now. And it also supports my local library and keeps my wallet a little bit heavier. So that's why I'm saying, like, I need to hurry up and finish, because you only have 2 weeks to finish your books. And then it takes that baby back. And I think the next Empire of the Damned is book 2 in this vampire series. And it's about 2 weeks before I'm going to get the next one. Well, that could be tomorrow. That could be in 2 weeks. So I want to finish this one up. But so far, loving it. That recommendation came from Mike's Book Reviews. And let me add Mike's channel, just in case I've got some hardcore readers out there, or people that are interested in diving into fantasy sci-fi. If you are interested in diving into fantasy and sci-fi and you don't know where to start, send me a message on Instagram, or I will add my email address and send me an email, and I will send you some suggestions and maybe some links to some booktubers that have some where I agree with them on where you can start for fantasy. So let me go grab my October, I can get out of here, books. Wow, there is no way I'm getting this in under an hour. It's already at 54 minutes. Even with editing, which I'm gonna try to not overdo it with the editing. I think I did all right with not doing a lot of, like, I don't know, and that kind of stuff that I have to edit out. Okay, October. Let's start with this before we say goodbye. This is the 4th book in Tales from the Cafe series. It is, they're just these great, like, sort of, just has like a touch of fantasy in them, where there's a cafe set in Japan. I think it's in Tokyo, the first cafe. And there's a seat in the cafe where you can sit, and a specific person in the cafe will pour you a cup of coffee from a specific pitcher in a cup. And when you take your first sip of coffee, it will transport you either backward or forward in time to meet someone at a certain period of time. There are a lot of rules to this, though. Like, you have to drink the coffee before it gets cold. The person you have to stay in the chair when you time travel. And I guess it's like a little bit of sci-fi and fantasy. Anyway, another rule is, like, the person has to have been in the cafe at that time that you're going back to or forward to. And nothing that you do when you travel through time will change the future. So you can go back in time and, like, try to warn somebody of an accident. it's not going to change them from getting into the accident. So it's really a book that teaches you lessons about regret, leaving things unsaid and leaving things undone, and missing out on connections with people over seemingly petty things. It's, yeah. Blech, I'm losing my words. Anyway, I think this is the fourth book before we say goodbye. And I'm very excited to get into this one because I think I have one book left and I'm trying to finish a few of the series that I'm in the middle of before the end of the year. But this next book is not going to be a series that I finish this year, that's for sure. And that is The Great Hunt by Robert Jordan. I want to keep going in the Wheel of Time series. I read the first book, The Eye of the Worlds. I enjoyed it. I barely started this one on the audiobook. Wasn't loving the audiobook. Just the narrator and the way that it was recorded was really off-putting. So I'm going to try to physically start reading it first, and then maybe I can get into the audiobook later. There are many reasons I want to read this. One of them is this is one of the, greats in the fantasy world. It starts out as an homage to the, oh my gosh. Can you tell it's time for me to wrap this up? Lord of the Rings. But from what I understand, he takes a major left turn and really turns the story into his own. And Robert Jordan sadly passed away before he finished the series. And one of my favorite fantasy authors, Brandon Sanderson, finished it. He did the last few books. So I'm a completionist in that I want to read everything that Brandon Sanderson has ever written. So this is like a 12-book series. Maybe it's longer than that. Obviously, I'm not, a hardcore Jordan fan yet because I don't remember. But this is a very, very long series. And these books are pretty chunky. So there's that one. Next up, I want to finish the Lonesome Dove series. Lonesome Dove is a book series first by Larry McMurtry, and my dad and my uncle sadly passed away in 2019. They watched the Lonesome Dove miniseries so much that I knew most of they're just lines from the movie that they would say all the time. And I always thought watching this Western miniseries when I was a kid. But I finally watched it as an adult with my dad and my brothers. And it's an incredible, incredible story. Oh my gosh. And so I decided this year, I was like, I'm going to go ahead and read the book. And I would say, as far as an adaptation, they did a pretty good job. There are a couple of characters they had to leave out. And one or two really small things where I'm like, did you really need to do that? But it's pretty faithful and it is so good. So it's a 4-book series where Lonesome Dove is the first book. The second book in the series, Streets of Laredo, is a sequel. Nothing will ever be as good as or top Lonesome Dove in the series, and I know that. But Streets of Laredo was still very, very good. And I wasn't able to guess everything. I thought I knew who he was going to kill off, and I was wrong. So there you go. All that to say is, finish Streets of Laredo, book 3. And I can't get this obnoxious sticker. Why do people put stickers on the front of the book? That drives me nuts. It doesn't matter. Dead Man's Walk is the next one. I think if you're going to read this series, the thing that you need to remember is it is a period piece. And so there are words that they use to identify certain people in the book that we find, and rightfully so, incredibly offensive today. And some stereotypes that we would find incredibly offensive today, rightly so. But I think that it is still important to read and understand and acknowledge these things that happened, because we have to learn from our mistakes, right? And so just keep that in mind, because there was one word in particular I was like not prepared for how many times it was said at the beginning of the book. And I was like, oh my God, if this keeps happening, like, I don't know if I can read this book. It did eventually stop. But it also like painted a picture of this person's character in the book and you needed to understand that this was like a terrible person. So we'll move on from that. Just wanted to kind of give that trigger warning there. Lonesome Dove, all the trigger warnings, like all the trigger warnings. Getting back to talking about Brandon Sanderson and being a completionist, Yumi and the Nightmare Painter. This book was based on, I think he had a couple of different inspirations. One of them is the anime movie Your Name, which I love that movie. There are a couple other inspirations in here. I can't remember all of them right now, but this is one of his standalone fantasy novels. And basically there are these two characters and they're essentially able to, like, they end up body swapping, but not on purpose. But it's like the boy would be in the girl's body, but the girl's kind of like the shadow of herself would also be there with him and vice versa. And they lived in two totally different worlds. And that's kind of all. Oh, and then like in the boy's world, nightmares actually come to life. And he is a painter that goes around and they use painting as a way to capture nightmares and get them out of his world. So we started this on a road trip, oh my gosh, over a year ago, easily. I think we were going to an anime convention and we just didn't finish it. It was a very cool, interesting book, but I don't know, audiobooks, I feel like I have listened to books with people in the car, but for us, it was just, I don't know, sometimes audiobooks, I think mostly are a solo experience. And we just too much time passed and we didn't finish. I have the fancier copy of this. If you didn't know, back in the day, Brandon Sanderson did, what was it? I think it was Kickstarter. And up until this year, he shattered the world record for amount of money that he raised for his Kickstarter. And it's called The Secret Projects. And he wrote 4 different books that he didn't tell anybody about. And you got these like beautiful leather bound copies. I didn't know about the Kickstarter in time to be a backer for it, but I did end up getting, he's so great to his fans. He ended up releasing all the, books and swag that you could get with it after the backers actually got theirs. And I think he didn't need all of the money for this project, so we ended up using some of it to back other authors on Kickstarter, which was really cool. And Yumi and the Nightmare Painter was one of them. And I do like the fancy version, and I am going to use it to read, but I also really thought that this one was cool. Like the artwork on the inside's really pretty. Obviously it's Japanese inspired, and they're like more like colored or like colored artwork in the book. In the nicer version, I just want to make sure that I keep that one preserved and nice. So anyway, I want to finish this in the month of October. And then finally, I've already kicked off spooky season with a vampire book, but I have yet another one, The Boyfriend. And I'm not saying his name. I know I keep saying boyfriend, and it's probably really annoying. It makes me sound like I'm in middle school. But he doesn't like to have a presence on social media, and I want to respect that. And I haven't asked him if I could say his name, so I'm not going to. So that gets annoying. Oh, it is what it is. Suck it up, buttercup. Anyway, he got me this really pretty Barnes & Noble copy of Dracula, and I do believe Yeah, and other horror classics. Like, oh, look at the inside. Spooky. So I want to read Dracula during Halloween. I meant to do it, I think the year he gave this to me, so it was almost 2 years ago. Oh my gosh, how long is this? What have I signed myself up for? I have got October, like, I think you guys know what I'm going to be doing. I am just going to be reading. Okay, so it is 281 pages. Oh, that's nothing. I could totally do that. I don't know. I may have a few books down here, but this is just a beautiful edition, and I wanted to read Dracula during October. I mean, fortunately, 2 of these books, I have the audiobooks for them. I have Yumi and the Nightmare Painter, and I have The Great Hunt. And actually, I have Dead Man's Walk because I can log into my dad's Audible account. Screw Audible, though. Like, just look it up. They're doing awful things to authors, so I don't have an Audible account. But I'll log into my dad's account and use his. With his permission, obviously. So those are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 books that are set in stone. I will probably, well, if Empire of the Damned comes in, I will be listening to that audiobook. And that one's probably going to be over 20 hours. Empire of the Vampire is 27 hours. I listened to it a little bit faster, but at like 1.3 to 1.5, depending on the narrator. So those will be close to the only audiobooks that I listen to, I think. So maybe I can get 7 books in October. Because if I could do 7, I think I did the math. If I average 6 to 7 for the rest of the year, yeah, then I should be good. Should be good. So that's all the reading. That's it. Not much. You know, just a little light reading. I'm insane. So that's my October TBR, as they say. Well, if it's going to be over an hour, let's just get into it. So what am I watching? Well, as I said, I've started going to more anime conventions. It's funny because with anime, I think I talked about this on the video that I did on my other channel that I can link here, I guess. It's one video and that's it. Let me add that to the list. Add video to other channel. If you subscribe to that other channel and you get excited, I'm not going to use it anymore, but I'll at least keep the video up. Maybe eventually I'll load the video onto this channel. But I think I talked about in that one, just there was a point in time where I was watching anime, but didn't realize that that's what it was, that it was called anime. I was watching Death Note, which I still need to finish. That was years ago. I started reading the manga, and I think I just took too much time in between each volume. And I think I'm just going to watch the show now. I'm not going to link all of this stuff I'm rambling about now. I'm done taking notes and adding links, but just write it down. Just write it down. Maybe I'll talk about it again one day when I finish the show. Point being, the boyfriend is, I mean, to say that he's a huge anime fan is pretty understated. He's actually writing a book about anime conventions and how they got started and collaborating with folks that were really there in the beginning. And so I went to my first anime convention with him. It was called Animazement in Raleigh, North Carolina. And we're walking around. I was like, oh my God, I've seen that. Oh my God, I've seen that too. I mean, it wasn't many. It was like maybe 2 or 3. And I mean, that was the beginning of the end of me having any free time between all of my hobbies and anime. I'm just kidding. No, I really enjoy watching anime. Like, recently we went to go see the Demon Slayer Infinity Castle movie. Oh my God, it was so good. I mean, I have like minor complaints about it, but overall, it was just incredible. They did it such justice. It was the movie that we needed. And I think there's 3 more. The next one's not going to come out until 2027. And then the last one's not going to come out until 2029. But I can see why. And you know what? Take your time and make it good. I will be fine, you know? Oh, to kick off spooky season before it was actually technically spooky season, I am very, it's funny, I'm not very regimented and strict about many things, but the movies that I watch during spooky season and Christmas, like it has to be during that time period. And so I was like, well, I don't want to watch any of those movies too soon. And so I started watching a show from back in the day that I had never watched before. And that is the show Charmed. And it's just such a fun 90s blast from the past, or maybe it's early 2000s, but it was just so much fun. I'm still in season 1. It's one of those things where I'll put it on as kind of like background. I mean, I'm still watching it, but I'm not very far into it, but I'm just enjoying that so much. Although now that I've learned a lot, I don't remember the YouTuber's channel. Maybe I'll link it one day. But she gets into all of the drama that happens behind the scenes. I mean, we all know that Hollywood is awful and the way they treat people is awful. And she kind of digs in, like she has a great one that's actually kind of sad about Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Huge Buffy fan over here. I have a really nice box set of her stuff. That's another spooky season watch. We're gonna actually watch tonight. We're gonna watch a couple more episodes of Buffy. Boyfriend hasn't seen it before. He's probably seen it sporadically, but he hasn't sat down and watched it all the way through, which means I need to get the Angel box set because, you know, their guest appearances there. And so anyway, I'm watching Charmed. Oh my God, I cannot stop rambling. This is why my videos, I don't know that I have very many that are under an hour. And I don't know that that matters. I don't know. It's just, it is who I am. And if my nose does not stop itching, I'm gonna go insane. Okay, so watching Charmed and Demon Slayer Infinity Castle. As we kicked off the, you know, prequel spooky season movies or spooky season eve movies, we watched Alien Romulus on Friday night, made some popcorn with our homemade or our home popcorn maker. It's just like a little bit, it's a little thing, but she is mighty because man, it was like maybe a quarter cup of popcorn kernels. And I had like what I thought was a very large bowl. It was not big enough. So that was interesting. So Alien Romulus on Friday night, very good movie. If you like the Alien movies, this one was a very good one. And then one of my personal favorites, Underworld. I have a really cool like 3-disc, 5-movie set of Underworld where I didn't know there were 5 movies when I bought it. I don't remember, I'm pretty sure I've seen 4 of the 5. I don't know if I ever got around to watching. I think it's called Blood Wars, which is the 5th one. The first 3 are good. I think I remember watching the 4th one and I was like, this kind of sucks. But we're going to watch all of them over the course of October and November because we got a lot to watch. So those 5 movies have got to be spread out. So I'll get back to you on that. And then tonight, like I said, we're going to watch 2 more episodes of Buffy. I think we're finally in the 2nd season. I mean, this is probably my 3rd or 4th time rewatching it. Because part of my plan is I want to rewatch it again. And then I want to get to the graphic novels and the novels and the comic books that kind of carry the story on after the show ended. Okay. So the alarm for me to clean my CPAP machine went off, which means that the longer video got cut off. So I had to start, I'm not starting all over, but I got to start from there. Whatever. Let's wrap this up, shall we? I think I was talking about what I was watching. And I said that tonight we were going to watch 2 Buffy videos and I'm going to continue with the Gundam series. We were watching the compilation videos for Gundam, and I we were talking about it, and I think I was just missing out too much from what the show provided. So I watched the compilation video for season 1, and then we're gonna just watch season 2 like a show. So we're gonna do 2 episodes of that tonight. That's it for watching. And real quick, I love to cook, and it's a big part of my life. There are times where I come off of it for a little while just because, you know, it can be a lot of work, a lot of cleanup. And actually, I need to start cooking soon. I got some soups to make because it's soup season. But I am not vegan, but I do have a lot of vegans in my life that I love to cook for. And I have to say, in the last few years, some of the best dishes and desserts that I've made have actually been vegan. So all you vegan haters out there, just move on. One of the new vegan chefs that I have found online, his name is Derek Sarno, and he has this video that went viral where he has like a specific method of taking lion's mane mushrooms and pressing them with cast iron skillets and marinating them certain ways so that they look just like steak. I shit you not. We did it earlier this week, and the whole time, like when I was taking them out of the bag, of like the marinade bag, and pressing them on in the cast iron skillet, like we were both like, this is so weird how much this looks like a piece of meat. I've kind of hated mushrooms my entire life, and I am trying really hard to be open-minded and love them. This was not bad. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. And so someone that does love mushrooms is going to freaking love this recipe. And he's got a lot of great recipes linked below. Another one, Rainbow Plant Life, she did a taco. She's another vegan chef. These tacos where you cook, it's lentils and finely chopped mushrooms. That one I loved because the mushrooms were so small and they were crispy, not soggy and slimy. Like, I tried cooking shiitake mushrooms in a stir fry the other week, and I was like, look, I just feel like I'm eating slug stir fry. Like, I couldn't do it. I ate a couple of bites of the mushrooms, and then they went on to boyfriend's plate. I'm working on it. The other thing, last thing, hopefully, let me link Rainbow Plant Life for you. Look, even if you're not vegan, I'm telling you, these two have got amazing recipes. They're so good. They're so good. Like her, Nisha from Rainbow Plant Life, her lentil shepherd's pie is a lot of work, but holy moly, it is fantastic, her shepherd's pie. Anyway, okay, now for real, the last thing. What am I drinking? So I used to be a major coffee drinker, was addicted to coffee for a very long time. And then I slowly made my way down to 1 cup a day because I try to drink water the rest of the day. And I don't drink soda. I don't drink juice. It is my one morning beverage and then water. Seltzer water, plain water with electrolytes, whatever. Well, I was down to 1 cup of coffee a day, and I've done that for years. And I guess it was about a month or 2 ago, I'm like drinking my coffee in the morning, and I'm like, I don't even know if I like coffee anymore. For those that have known me for a really long time, look, don't fall out of your chair. Something's just happened in my brain where it's just not exciting for me anymore. And I remembered I had this very finely ground roasted green tea powder. It's called hojicha. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. I think I'm close. And I had made, because boyfriend loves tea, especially green tea. Dimbula is his latest favorite. Look all these up. I'm not linking it all below, but I am linking this drink below. So I found this roasted green tea latte, this hojicha latte. through Just One Cookbook. And I remember trying it and I was like, I can actually drink that. Like, I like green tea. I wasn't at the point where I liked it enough that I could drink it every day, but this I can drink every day. So recipes below. The only things that I do differently, I put the tea powder, hot water. I put a little bit of cinnamon, 1 teaspoon of light agave syrup. And then I got this really nice, like $30 milk frother that is better than the $90 ones that I've tried in the past. If you're interested, just leave a comment and I'll give you the link. I'm really trying not to spend hours today editing and updating show notes. But I put some Planet Oat extra creamy, unsweetened oat milk, like you needed all those details, in my frother. And I put that on top of the tea. And let me tell you, I don't know that, I can't say that I'll never drink coffee again, but I don't know that I'll drink very much of it. Like, I just have this every morning, most mornings, and then I just get straight to the water. But like, I get so excited drinking this. It's just such a treat, and it's so different, and it's got such a rich, interesting flavor. I mean, just drinking the hojicha, which again is roasted green tea, as just like a normal cup of tea, is really tasty. But this definitely elevates it a little bit. So I just wanted to mention that because again, I wanted to make this, it's still mainly knitting, but I wanted to add some other things in there because I have a lot of different interests. And this podcast is for my knitting friends, but it's also for other friends of mine where we're just not located in the same town or the same state anymore. And it's a great way for us to kind of catch up a little bit. So with that said, welcome back. We'll see how this goes. I don't know what my recording cadence is. I don't think I'm going to set one for right now. Because, I mean, look, I'm at over an hour. It takes me twice as long to edit. We're going to work on that. I have to learn new software, though, so that's going to take some time. And we've just got a lot going on right now, and the holidays are coming up. So I don't know what I was thinking starting this at such a busy time of year. But then I realized, well, it's never not busy. So here we go. All right. I'm going to go get to some knitting, get to some reading, get to some cooking, and I will see you all next time. Subscribe, like, and comment below, and talk to you later. Bye.